Yo, 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 fellow Chuggalows. That's right. It's Phil. I'm back. Welcome to the 2023 Chuggalo Brew Crew podcast, Chuggalo Advent Calendar. Man, wait for this all year long, and it's been a year. It's been a year, believe it or not, since we last graced these pages. Kind of an outdated term now. Really, no one really uses pages anymore. But the YouTube pages with our thoughts and our community of Chuggalos. Ring in the most festive time of the year, the Christmas season, of course, the holiday season, Christmas and others. Kwanzaa, any Kwanzaa takers out there? We might have some Kwanzaa beer, maybe. I don't know. I'm making that up. Hi, it's good to be back, everyone. It's good to see everyone. I'm a little behind the 8 ball here, but I'm excited to join y'all again for another rousing year of the Advent Calendar. Excited to dive in. I happened to not be available and out of town for the kickoff at the Barrel House. So unfortunately, I wasn't there to get to see the beers so incredibly professionally and craftily picked by the Barrel House staff. They've always done such a great job the last several years. Hats off to them. Thank you all, one and all. Love you guys. They're phenomenal there. Anybody who doesn't know in the Dayton area, the Barrel House, you got to go check it out. It's wonderful. Great place, great people. They totally take care of us every year. We ask them to basically randomly pick, 24, 25 days worth of beers, their favorites, some interesting things, and mix it up, get some different beers going in their different styles. And they've always done a phenomenal job, just a tremendous job. So I missed that session of being there. We typically go there in person on a Friday, get as many people as can come together to do it, and then go spend the day and just kind of hang out, drink beer, tell stories, catch each other up on what's happened in the last year, if we haven't seen each other for that long, and just enjoy each other's company, enjoy the fine folks at Barrel House, and all the wonderful, the place is amazing, man. You go in there and there's so many different kinds of beers, you can't even imagine it. And most of them are beers that I've never heard of, right? So, and it's always changing. They're always changing things out. So what's awesome is you get to try all kinds of things that you've never heard of, never seen, never tried before, and mix it all up. And that's exactly what they do for us in their pre-selection of our Advent Calendar beers. So I'm totally stoked to dive in here. I'm really looking forward to joining you all. And this first day is when you see these bottles with these labels, yeah, that's not it says Masthead. It's Masthead Sleigh All Day. It's a red IPA. I'll give you a little hint. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. 7.5%. Pretty high content for an IPA, and it's not a DIPA. It's not a dual IPA either. It's a single IPA. I'll talk a little bit about how they get that, how they achieve that specific gravity to get 7.5%. That's a pretty high for a beer, an IPA particularly. There's a lot of unique things about this beer that we're going to get into. But first things first, Phil. Don't get off track, buddy. Yeah, you can see another year older. Yeah, wish I could say another year wiser, but I'm sure my son-in-law, John, JT, would be quick to probably argue with that, and my wife too, and Katie, and everyone else I love in my life. But another year older, and I think a little grayer maybe. God, I hate that. Anyway, when you see this label, that means that this is a beer that was on tap at the Barrel House, and they poured these for us. So for however many people came and however many people ordered the advent calendar of beers, they hand poured these into bottles and capped them for us. So that's what that means. That's what that when you see this, which you will over the course of the next 24 days, 24, 25 days, you'll see that. So when you see that, that's what that means. They just had this on tap. They decided to, or elected to, choose that particular beer, and they slapped their own label on it and everything. So pretty cool, huh, that they can even do that. I think that's really cool. They have all sorts of cool things. You can get little growlers, big growlers, lots of different things from them, and they'll pour whatever you want on tap or whatever into those things. And I think John and I did that last year. We had a growler of a couple of different things. But anyway, I'm really excited to try this. Now, Masthead, I understand, is a local Ohio brewery out of Cleveland. I think I'm getting that right. But this is a really interesting beer today, and a great beer, I think, to start us off, to start off the Advent Calendar Day 1. It is a red IPA. A red IPA, what the heck is a red IPA? How is it different than a regular IPA or any other IPA that's out there? It seems like every week, every month, every year, there's a new kind of IPA coming out. Well, it happens to be probably the most popular beer in America right now, trending at least, has been for a couple of years. So yes, of course, brewers are trying to find all kinds of ways to make IPAs more interesting, a little different, put spins on it. We got hazies, we got fruities, we got New Englands, we got West Coast, we got, traditionals, we got English IPAs, we got all kinds of IPAs. But the red IPA is interesting. Going to get into that in a second. But first, let's open this puppy up, because Phil needs a drink. All right. Here we go. Ready? 3, 2, 1. And the cap that they chose for this one, at least for mine, says hops is greater than hate. Wow, that's deep. Just how deep I'm not ready to go into yet, but maybe a few of these, we'll get into that a little bit. All right, let's give it a pour and see what she looks like. Ooh, okay, that explains a lot. Look at that beautiful, beautiful, dark, rich color. That is not usual for an IPA, folks. Normal IPA, for those of you who drink IPAs regularly, you don't need me to tell you this, but for those who don't, a normal IPA is a lot lighter than this. It's typically yellowish in color, with a little bit deeper, richer golden tones to it typically. And that has to do with the malts that they use. Now, malt is just barley that's been malted. Barley is what provides the sugars, the complex carbohydrates that are actually used to ferment the beer and to give it a lot of character too. It's a very interesting, unique flavor. That is what makes beer taste the way it does. But malt is processed from the barley. Barley is basically, it's cooked, if you will, baked kind of. It can be roasted, it can be toasted. Roasting and toasting gives it a little bit darker characters. Roasting actually will really give it a dark character, and if you over roast it, it'll give it a dark black character, which is what porters are made from and what stouts are made from very often, are roasted malts. Okay, but the malt is key. The malt is the center and the heart and soul and the thing that pumps the blood in a beer. Well, this one's red, hence a red IPA. Wow, not rocket science, but it is definitely a darker, redder, amber color. It actually looks like an amber ale, which is exactly what a red IPA is. So, Stev, saw yours, buddy. Good to see you again, too, by the way. Going to answer your question. That's what a red IPA is. It's really a combination of an American IPA, standard traditional American IPA, with the hoppiness and the bitterness and all that stuff. And it's combined with an American ale in terms of some of the characteristics that they put in there. So for example, what they use more crystal malts, which gives it a more, they also call crystal malt caramel malt, But crystal malt gives it this darker, redder color. It also has more caramely flavors in it. So it'll tend to be a deeper and sweeter taste, slightly sweeter than a normal IPA, which will provide some interesting balance here, right? Because the alcohol content is high, but the sweetness is also high, which means there's some unfermentable sugars that stayed in there to give it to remain there without fermenting out into alcohol, which gives it a little sweetness, more sweetness. So you're going to taste a little bit more flavor character and a little bit more richness, full-bodiedness from this. You will definitely get some hop bite on this, absolutely guaranteed. So that's what a red IPA is, kind of a combination of those two, kind of the best of both worlds. I love crystal malt. When I was brewing, I used to brew this. My beers almost always had crystal malt in them because I like the darker and richer flavors of the amber ales and that sort of thing. So that's what it is. So now that I've talked this thing warm, oh man, that's got a great nose to it. Oh yeah, these are typically fruitier too. You're going to see some fruit esters in there that you don't normally expect to see in a regular IPA. Sometimes berry esters, you get a little hints of berries in there, really unusual. It's definitely not brewed with berries, guys. It's just the esters that come out of the fermentation process from the crystal malt. And the yeast that they use. And depending on the yeast that they use, you'll get different esters that kind of come to the forefront. Yeah, I can already smell some fruitiness. A lot of times a red IPA will exhibit some peach and stone fruit characters, those types of characters as well, which are interesting. Again, they're false flags. They're not really, there's not really peach in there or stone fruit in there. It's just part of the brewing process, the fermentation process that leaves that those esters in there, gives it the character. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Wow, wow. I like that. It's really good. I was expecting a real hoppy character. I didn't get the hops though really until I was about mid palate, and then I got a lot on the back palate, of course, which you expect out of an IPA. But it wasn't overwhelming. It wasn't like you'd expect, a normal West Coast IPA to just knock your brains out with bitterness from the hoppiness. But it's not that overwhelming because there is a lot of sweetness that I'm tasting in the malt character going over your palate, over my tongue. So it's a good beer. By the way, these are relatively new to American brewing. I don't know how long, it's not been that long, 3-4 years, maybe 5 years, something like that, maybe a little longer. But red IPAs haven't really been around that long, but they're hugely super popular already because Americans love IPAs. Sorry, JT, but that's the way it is. Americans love IPAs, and they like trying new different things and stuff like that. And whenever you throw something sweeter at them, like look at how popular the juicies are and the hazies are. They're sweeter. They've got lots of character in them, and the fruit infusion and other kinds of stuff that they're infusing into IPAs has made those extremely popular. And that's par for the course with a red IPA. I like it because it doesn't add anything like fruit to the mix or whatever. That's not, for those of you guys that know me, you've been around me in the last couple of years, I'm more of a traditionalist when it comes to brewing. JT's made me try all kinds of beers I never thought in the world I'd try, let alone like. I actually like the juicies now. I'm liking the juicies, but it took me a while to get there because I was really not enamored by changing. I guess maybe I have some German in me. I don't know, but the Reinheitsgebot is the purity of what you put into a beer, and it needs to be as a German would, it needs to be very strict, and you can't put anything different, and you can't change anything out, etc. Of course, we as Americans immediately toss all that out the window, do whatever the hell we want, and put whatever we want in there. So we don't have a lot of, strictly Reinheitsgebot, Boltgeist. Totally messed that one up, man. And I haven't even had one yet. But anyway, we don't have very many, pure beers from the German perspective. But this is a good one. I really like this one. Even the hop characteristics, I like it a lot. Mm. Yeah, that's a great beer to start let the games begin with. I'm liking that one a lot. Very, very good IPA, solid. Um, JT always says, and he's so right too, it's really hard to score an IPA. In a lot of senses, that's not probably really fair to the makers because it's a great IPA. But there's so many IPAs out there, and there's so many good ones out there. You can spot a bad IPA from a mile away with a nose a lot of times, or the first taste or two. You can go, no. But the really, really good ones, it takes a lot for them to stand out. I'm going to rate this one higher than average, but not in the perfection zone. And I'm going to rate it higher than average for a couple of different reasons. One is I think it's a really good beer, really solid example. It's a red IPA, which is unusual. I'm glad you guys had them pick this out. I'm glad somebody picked this as the number one beer, the first day beer, not number one beer, but the first day beer to try. And I think that was a great choice. And the third reason is that its unique characteristics of a red IPA are something that we, when we try some of the other IPAs that are on the list, we'll be thinking back to this one, I think. We'll be comparing them to this. So excellent, excellent choice. I'm going to rate this as a 4.0. 4.0. Really good, well above average, and not the best IPA I've ever tasted, but the best one I've had in a long time this year. So I'm really liking it a lot. I think Steb said that his dad said it was he likened it a lot to Celebration, Sierra Nevada Celebration. I think we've had Celebration in our advent calendar I know we had it last year, and I think we had it the year before as well, if I'm not mistaken. But Matt, you and JT can correct me if I'm wrong. That will happen. I know, it's amazing. Hard to believe. Not. Anyway, but I think we've had that, and I think that's fairly accurate. I don't think that the Celebration is nearly as sweet as this. Because it's Sierra Nevada, it's also, the hops are a lot more forward. You get the hops right up front in the tip of your tongue. And this sits back a little bit. Actually surprised me a little bit. I thought it was going to be that kind of up front in your face, hoppy bitterness. But it surprised me. It was much better balanced than that. So 4.0 from me. Love you guys. Really glad to be back with you all again for Advent Calendar. We're going to have a great December. And I can't wait to see you guys all when we get together. So that's it for me for day one. That was really long. But day two's coming up. That's it. It's in the can. I'm going to sit back and finish the rest of this because it was so lovely. Happy Advent Calendar, and we'll see you all again soon.